Hello to those listening. This is an orator here with the freest of speech. And this time I'd like to talk about why feminists support rape. Now, to begin, I'd like to start with the word itself. Rape is defined in the dictionary as unlawful sexual intercourse or an other sexual penetration of the vagina, anus, or mouth of another person, with or without force, by a sex organ, other body parts, or foreign objects without the consent of the victim. Now, the very interesting part of this definition is when it talks about sexual penetration. And what that means is that if, per se, a person was to envelop your body part with their mouth, then that's not a rape. If, for example, a man is sleep drunk, unconscious, and a woman decides that she wants to ride him like a stallion, that's technically not rape because as you see, the definition talks about penetration. See, he wasn't penetrated, she was. Now, with that being said, I'm going to continue down the line of why feminists seem to support rape. And to continue, I want to go to a rape survey. And when you look at the survey, I'm just going to read off of a few questions here. And what it has here is um, which of the following constitutes rape? And the options are sex with someone under the age of 18, which is yes, sex with someone who is unconscious, which is yes, a date who forces their partner to have sex, which can be yes, a spouse who forces their partner to have sex, which can be yes, continuing to have sex with someone who originally consented and then revokes their consent, which is yes, and then none of the above. Now, this is a survey about rape, so all of these things are rape. Meaning, if you check any one of them, you're saying yes, it's rape. Now, I'm going to continue with the next question. The next question is when walking to, from your car to, from class or work, do you, and then it says mark whatever's applied. It says talk on the phone, text, read, study, um, search purse, bag for keys, eat, stop, pick up things off the ground, other. Now, this is supposed to be a rape survey. This question is innocuous. It doesn't even belong here. It makes no sense why it's here. But when then I go down to the next question, and the next question is: have you ever feared that you would be raped, or are you afraid that you could potentially be raped? Now, I'm not going to read the choice for this, but the thing is, on a rape survey, this question should not even be there. It makes no sense. Because in a sense, it's either it has happened or it hasn't happened. That sorry, a rape survey is supposed to be a survey of people talking about yes, something happened or no, it didn't happen. As you see with this survey, these people who wrote this are giving people possibilities to say, no, I haven't, but I'm afraid it can be, or is this what it's supposed to be, and or is it not supposed to be? These are an actual rape survey should be one or two. It should be literally two questions. Question number one: has it happened to you? And then question number two: did you report it to the police? That's all you need. That's how you get accurate data. But when you do things like this, just read off. I only read a few questions off of this one, but to no, just to drill a point home, I want to I'm gonna go read some questions from another survey. Now, all these surveys will be in the links below if you just want to look at the whole things. Now, here's one of the questions. It's: do you know someone who has been a victim of sexual abuse? Yes or no? Totally irrelevant to a rape survey because a rape survey is supposed to be yes, me, no, it hasn't, the end. Now, here's another question: how many rapes slash sexual assaults have happened in Ireland each year, approximately? Now, I'm assuming that this takes place in, well, Ireland. They're asking somebody, do you keep up with the statistics? Now, the who the hell would keep up with the statistics of this? but people whose job it is to enforce the law or to incarcerate the people who are committing the crime. Your average person wouldn't know these statistics unless it's being drilled into their head to know these statistics so that they can be afraid. Now, I'm just going to leave it with these two system service and these two things right here. Like I said, the links below, you can read these things for yourself. But I'm still going to throw out this just from this second survey, this nice chunk of questions, and it's just to really drill home the point of that these surveys are not designed to collect data; they're actually designed to push a narrative. Now, on this one question, it says here, it says it's a true or false section. Anybody who's ever done any type of survey seen this before. Now, here's the first one. Women often claim rape to protect their reputation. True or false? Do women do it? Yes. Do a lot of women do it? No. This is not a true or false answer. It is some people do. Next, each woman should be responsible for preventing her own rape. That is 100% true because the only person who can protect you is you. If you're looking around for a hero, that only works if you live in a place where you have a bodyguard 24/7. If you don't have that, then it's up to you. Next, many women claim rape if they have consented to sexual relationships but have changed their mind afterwards. That is actually a true statement. There are women who do it. And but the thing is, under true or false, and you use the word many, and before I could talk about the many part, no, I'll just bring it up now. Using the word many means most people look at it as the majority, and most people believe that nobody would do. The majority of people wouldn't do this. So people will automatically click false, which is giving bad information because the question is worded in a way to trick a person. Even though it is true that this happens, it is designed to make you say false because anybody with common sense would say, no, it's not the majority. Even in the highest stats, you have 41%. I think that's like the highest one you get. That it's not even the majority. Would you so I'm going to continue now. A woman who goes out alone at night or wears provocative clothing puts herself in a position to be raped. The answer is true and false. And you might ask yourself, how can it be both true and false? Because we use the word predator when we talk about criminals because they behave like a predator. Predators will go for weak, vulnerable things. And the thing is, a woman can wear provocative clothing, and a woman can be out at night and she can strut down the street with her head held high, chest out, just oozing confidence. And the predator's going to look at her and say, you know something? I'm not going to go for that. I'm going to go for the easier targets. And I'm not saying this because I'm comparing them to an actual predator in the wild. I am saying this because when you ask actual sexual offenders, they say, yeah, we go after weak, vulnerable looking people. So the answer to this question is both yes and no because you can be dressed. You can be matter of fact, you can walk around butt naked, and but if you have that certain je ne sais quoi, you're not going to be attacked. You're not even going to be looked as a potential target because you're not vulnerable. But again, under true and false, the question cannot be answered correctly. But if you're pushing the narrative, you're going to go. Most people are going to go for false again. Now, next, sexually experienced women are not really damaged by rape. Now, this is 100% false, and it's also true. Another one of these, another one of these, and I'm saying this because of things like 50 Shades of Grey, the inherent female fantasy that seems to exist. Now, romance novels I've always called girl porn because, well, they are. But a staple of these things is the man who comes in and just sweeps the woman off her feet and throws her down the bed passionately and tears off her clothes and makes passionate love to her, and that is 100% rape. But a woman who is, like they say, sexually experienced, who likes that kind of play, if she's raped, she may not take that same damage that, some young person who doesn't know anything about the world doesn't. Everybody experiences things differently. Some people, even people who suffer the same thing, taking it out the range of rape, there's people who get electrocuted and fly across the room, get up and shake it off and go on as if nothing ever happened, and there's other people who die instantly. Everybody experiences things differently. So the thing is, the answer to this question isn't under true or false. It's neither true nor false. It is actually both, be, and neither simultaneously. But if you're pushing a narrative, most people are going to go straight to false. Keep your narrative intact. Continuing. Going home with the man at the end of a date is a woman's way of communicating to him that she wants to have sex. True or false? That is both, again, true and false, because a woman can go home with a man because she wants to engage in those activities. Or she could be going home with this man because he said, let's have coffee and chat some more. Could be a good conversation going and don't want to stop just yet. Again, true and false simultaneously, but most people are going to automatically go with no because in the end, you're trying to push a narrative and you're not really giving people very many options. Now, I'm going to continue with the last. Here come the last two. And you know what? No, I was going to do them together, but looking at it, I think I should separate them. Women usually say no to sex when they really mean yes. True or false? That is true and false. Again, and I can tell you from personal experience. Matter of fact, if you know any guys, just ask them. They'll tell you. There's plenty of women who will sit there and say, no, we can't do this while they got their hands down your pants. And you have women who will say, yeah, let's do it. And then next thing you know, nope, I don't, this boom, don't want to do it now. You see, again, like I'm repeating myself again, a statement that is both true and false, only giving you the option to pick 100% yes, 100% no. Most people are going to go with false because when most people people say no. Again, you're pushing a narrative because this is a very individual decision. And the last one, I'm gonna wrap up this survey. And the last one is men can't be raped. Now, if you say true, you're agreeing that men can't be raped. And if you say false, then you're saying that men can be raped. This is a trick question. It's designed that way because most people aren't going to read this and go, "Oh, trick question. Let me try to do it." I'll do it. No, the beauty of the double negative. That's what we have here. You need to go negative to counteract the initial negative. Most people don't think that way. They're going to go with true. And again, because you're pushing a narrative, this is very, very good for your narrative. Now, the thing you've probably heard me say, well, in the last thing, can apply to all of these things. A lot of these questions you ask can neither be 100% one way or the other, but they all are about a specific individual and how they react or how they behave in society. But when you give this 100% yes or no attitude to it, most people will always lean towards the no part as long as you write the question correctly. The last question, which is a trick statement, is the best example of it. It comes under the principle of the double negative. Most people don't think that way, so you're going to get what you want and therefore augment the results. But let's get away from these surveys and get to something a little bit more concrete, some data that we can sink our teeth into. Crime statistics report for U.S. crime rates. This was done in around 2012. Okay, so it's collected over 10 years. No, it's collected over 10 years. It's the usual way the government picks up statistics. Now, what I want to look at here is the 2016 crime projections. Okay, this is by looking through years of data. You're just trying to shoot it forward. These things are not 100% accurate, but they're good estimations. Okay, now what I want to first go with, because I'm still talking about, well, rape. What we have here, they talking about 2016. They're looking at maybe 77,742 per, and in other words, it breaks down to about 24 per 100,000 people. Now you may be saying, "Wow, that's a lot of incidents, right?" But let's compare it to aggressive assault. Okay, now aggressive assault is 710,616, which is projected, and they think and this comes down to 219 per 100,000. That is literally 6 times plus that. But trying to take care of aggressive assault, not really a big deal. Burglaries, 2 million, over 2 million. Um, Theft, over 5 million. Motor vehicles, over 300,000. Murders and manslaughters are pretty low at 13,000, which is pretty good. Robbery, over 300,000. Now, out of all these crime statistics, you see that we have some really big numbers and some really, you know, critical places, but nobody really pays attention to them. And the reason is because you have feminists who use rape as a way to bludgeon government into doing what they want. So we ignore things that we should be trying to get rid of for this one simple fact. And it's like the number of it, even in its projection, even with 77,000, even if you increase this number 100-fold, you're still looking at less than 5% of the population of the United States. If I increase any of these, just say burglaries 100-fold, I'm looking at more than 10% of the US population. Now, is burglary somehow is burglary worse than rape? And most people's books say, well, no, it's not, because somebody just burgles your house, it really doesn't affect you. But I'm just going to go up to aggressive assault, because aggressive assault means you got jacked up pretty good. And like I did with the rape thing, I'll increase that by tenfold. And you know what? I am well. I'm pretty sure I'm around what 4 or 5% of the population. Even increasing the rates by 10 under these projections, I'm still not really at 1% of the population. So it seems that this is a problem, but it's not this dramatic, over the top problem that these people portray it to be. So if it's not that big of an actual problem, then they can only logically determine that these people are using it for other means. So what could the other means mean? Simple: power, money. People have learned how to profit by scaring women. So they scare them and keep scaring them so they can profit and keep on profiting. But now I think I'm going to go to one more area of statistics with more data, because it's nice to have some data, right? Now, where I'm at now is the some Department of Justice rape statistics around pretty much a multiple year things. Just like the other statistics, just more condensed. But these pretty much focus directly on rape. Now, it pretty much says the annual rapes reported in the United States are about 89,000. Again, still less than 1% of the population. Not saying that this is a bad that this is something that can be swept on the rug, but by by our population, it's not 1%. That's pretty damn good if you ask me. Now, what we also have here is women who experience completed rape, 16%, men who experience an attempted or attempt to complete rape, 3%. A bunch of other just beautiful statistics. When you go into the college area, they say percentages of women who report being raped, 15, women who report an attempted rape, 12. And according to this, a CDC study, over 5,000 women said, no, asked them the percentage of women who report being raped, 20. And again, sounds really bad, but you talking about getting over 139 colleges, you get 5,000 women to participate in your study, and you get 250 people who said, "Yeah, I reported being raped." Uh, and you take that 250 and you spread it out over the 138. You're looking at maybe you're looking at maybe one or two out of this 5,000 per actual campus. And this is back in '95. That's actually pretty damn good because this is back in '95. They've done nothing more than make more ways to say bad things happen to you. Now we're going to go down to one more part of this, which I've really found incredibly good data. Okay, I found this really good. Now, countries that say they have a very high rate of that might pretty much country with the highest rate of rapes. Okay, you got like Zimbabwe, United Kingdom, United States. Oh, I'm not doing them in order because well, the data's right here. Feel free to look at yourself. I'm just naming them off. Sweden, Lethalos, Belgium. These have very high rates of these are very high rates, right? Now, here's some countries with low ones. Egypt, Syrian Arab Republic, Turkey, Ukraine, Kenya. It's it's amazing, isn't it? The socially freest countries like the Ukraine, the United States have high rates of rape, but all these regressive places like Egypt that everybody talks about seem to have very low ones. Now, could it be that there's no feminists there to just blow up the numbers? No, not really. Because a lot of these countries do have Sharia law, and aspect of Sharia law is that a woman shouldn't be left alone because a woman should be protected at all times. And when you live in a country where you are supposed to be protected at all times, it's very difficult for bad things to happen to you. So, in conclusion, with just looking at these data points of different regions in the world and looking at the surveys and how they ask questions and looking at the statistics in from 2012 that are projections into the future and just looking at more statistics here coming from the US Justice Department, rape isn't some kind of crazy epidemic that is just destroying people left and right. It just isn't happening. But feminists keep pushing it. And like I said previously, the only reason that they will push it is for their own personal benefit. Because it's totally illogical to make a big problem out of nothing. The old saying, you're making a mountain out of a molehill. So why would it? Because it benefits them. They profit from it. As long as they can scare women, women will support them. Then they take these women they have supporting them and they can bombard legislators. They can say, "Hey, you don't like women. That's because you're not giving us more stuff." I'm not saying women in general, just them. Now, with all the data collected, I can only say one thing: rape is a crime that is committed, and it's a heinous crime. But looking through the data, it is not as big of a problem as feminists portray it to be. So the only logical conclusion you come actually come up with is that feminists purposely do this. They want to rip up a frenzy over something that isn't that bad only for their own personal benefits. See, if you ask a rapist, do they support rape? They'll say yeah because they don't want to go to jail for committing a crime. Whereas feminists, on the other hand, seem to support rape just as much as these rapists do because they blow this thing out of mass proportion. And they do it because it pays their bills. The more women they have whipped into a hysteria, the more leverage they have over people who have access to large sums of money, like government. Now, the one thing I didn't bring up while looking through these statistics and all the data is false allegations. Now, we all know false allegations exist, but there's no data on it. The reason why there's no data on it because nobody actually takes the data down. Because even though filing a false police report can is considered a crime, or perjuring yourself on stand in a courtroom is also a crime, women who do this are not punished for it. They're excused. And hell, we're on YouTube right now. If you look on YouTube, you will actually see videos of women who will walk into a police station and lie on a police officer, say he did A, B, C, or D to me, while the police are looking like we have videotape evidence that that didn't happen, and they will stand there and not change their story. But nobody keeps this data. And the reason nobody keeps this data is because you have an entire organization centered around this hysteria of a crime that is so much worse than it actually is, that if you actually start taking that data, feminists will come down on you with all of their might and, well, in a sense, make you have to quit your job. Everybody got to eat. I can understand why they doing it, but I don't respect them for doing it. Well, like I said before, rapists may go to jail for committing their crimes, but the crime of whipping people in hysteria over nothing that feminists do puts money in their pocket. This is an orator here with the freest of speech. Thanks for listening.